radio program. We're talking about gun politics, talking about the NRA, and talking especially tonight about the recap of our exposure program, Operation Expose the NRA, which took place in full form in Indianapolis over the weekend. Guys, a lot to talk about tonight. The red flag issue continues to be hot. It is moving right now. Lindsey Graham is trying to, as we speak, work to draft a new version with input from Senate Democrats. So, hey, how bad could that be? And there's a lot of things happen at the state level as well. So, guys, get signed in. Let us know where you're watching from. Post your location in the comment section. Ben is aggressively working to post some watch parties. If you guys want to help us out, and Ben, you better be doing mine first. If you guys want to help us out with that and host some of your own watch parties and help this be seen by more people, we'd be very honored to have your help in that regard. The state level watch parties are a great way to get new people into this movement because, as we like to say, people as crazy as you and us, well, we have crazy friends too, and they have to hear what's going on. Is it being? Are we operational? Here's it going.
I'm getting a lot of notifications. We're live.
Right.
So
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't talking to the four of us.
That's pretty standard.
All right, guys. As always, we have our four co-hosts. My name is Aaron Dorr with Iowa Gun Owners. Patrick, you look like you're tripping on acid right now. So is your screen locked up?
Am I here?
Oh, he's all locked up. Oh, somebody who hates you is going to screenshot that. It's like an Alex Jones type thing. It's going to be like, look at this.
Yeah, it's
hold on.
It's locked up.
Am I back?
There he is.
You know what I just tested? I tested going to other screens on my phone, and it didn't work. So obviously, I've just got to sit here like a lump on a log. And
I get a screenshot of that right now. I'll send it to you later on. So we're glad to see you back with a living. All right, we got myself. We got Ben Dorr, Minnesota Gun Rights. Ben,
how you doing, everybody?
Have probably his most sleepy performance. Not that we call him Sleepy Joe. It's just that Ben was in the Minnesota State Capitol last night until 2:30. Ben, 3:00 in the morning.
I crawled into bed at 3:35. So
3:35. As they passed a massive gun control bill in the House last night in Minneapolis, or it's in St. Paul, actually. Chris Dorr with Ohio Gun Owners. Chris is hours away from proponent testimony tomorrow in Ohio on constitutional carry law. And Patrick Parsons, our fourth co-host, Georgia Gun Owners. He is in his mobile office, we'll call it tonight, out of the office tonight, enjoying some time. What's that?
My mobile home.
Yeah, his mobile home. There we go. There we go. So, guys, who saw us out there? Who saw the American Firearms Coalition in Indianapolis over the weekend, taking it to the NRA? If you guys saw us out there, if you saw the videos, if you saw the airplane, if you saw the mobile truck banners, if you saw that stuff, give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. I know we're going to have haters on here tonight in mass, and that's okay. We'll deal with you people when we think you're worthy of our time. But for everybody else, for all the supporters who helped us make this possible, what'd you guys think? Because I know what I thought. Ben and I were out to the airstrip on the first day, which was Friday morning. It had been raining like absolutely insane for about 12 hours before that. And we're like, is this going to work? Like, is this plane going to be able to get off the ground? Is there going to be too much wind? I see a lot of thumbs up right now. And Ben and I were the team out there at the airstrip on the first day. And this pilot's like filling his airplane with 5-gallon gas cans. And we're like, man, I hope this works. And then all of a sudden, he freaking hit the gas. And that thing took off in the air. And that banner unfurled. And he went flying over downtown Indy with a banner that said, President Trump, save us, veto redflags.com. I looked over at Ben and I was like, all right, it's going to work. It's going to work. And folks, if you saw it, it was a beautiful, beautiful banner. We had a beautiful show out there. And the banner that first day, again, as President Trump was flying into Indy, our plane was up there circling the entire complex saying, President Trump save us, veto redflags.com. I that first moment when that banner unfurled, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Patrick, you were downtown on day one, kind of coordinating the operation down there. I didn't see the plane first come overhead, but it had to be a pretty cool sight down there.
Oh, it was crazy, man. And I think one of the first comments I saw, at some point, somebody was like, keep up the blitzkrieg. You know what I'm saying? And people were fired up about it. Yeah, I mean, the first time I saw it, I was already downtown. I saw it come flying in from a distance. I was like, hell yes. And it was working.
Yeah.
People were pointing up, and State Senator Bouchard was down there with me as well. But you mentioned, Aaron, on the airstrip. Well, is it going to work? Is it going to work? Well, I mean, this is just a part of taking the risk. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, it cost a little bit of money. It wasn't, whatever, but we took the risk. Tens of thousands of people saw it. Sometimes your plans work, sometimes they don't. But I think all in all, with the airplane, with the truck, with the tens of thousands of, bright, yellow or whatever the heck color that was, flyers that we were passing out, the local media that picked up on us, all the people that were pointing up in the air, it was a thing of beauty. And we just got to keep the heat on this red flag stuff. I mean, we went out there, we did the dirty there in Indianapolis. A lot of the leadership there was pissed, obviously. But when that plane came out there, in those big, tall, ritzy hotels where the top level NRA brass was in, I mean, they saw that stuff, and people everywhere.
That's the thing. That was one of the money shots of the whole weekend to me. And we had a bunch of them, but that was the JW Marriott, which is about 3 blocks away from the convention center. Probably one of the ritziest hotels I have seen outside of Vegas.
Yeah,
absolutely. Just like a Taj Mahal, which makes sense. These guys work in a Taj Mahal in Waples Mill Road. They're in Nova. So you got to imagine these guys are how high in the air. I mean, they're probably, how many stories tall was that puppy? I mean, that thing was way up there, hundreds of feet in the air. So you got to imagine they're chowing down on their catered breakfast, for $97.99, in their room, getting ready to come down and join the dirty, hairy, unwashed. And here comes this airplane pretty much right out their freaking window, telling them to, on day 2, the banner said, NRA, stop selling out gun owners. Veto or stop redflags.com. Whichever person on the Missouri Firearms Coalition page is thinks we support Joe Biden, I hope you're just asking a satirical question. But if you're serious, no, how the hell? What? No.
Take the
no, they're asking for an answer, or else they're gonna sign off. So okay, fine. You sound good on this end for what it's worth on my end.
Sounds good to me.
And I guess if anybody is wondering, if you maybe just this is your first time watching the 4 of us, maybe it is. Why would these people be flying an airplane over top of the NRA, over Lucas Oil, trying to get President Trump's attention? Very simple. The red flag gun seizure issue is the gun rights battle of our day. There's nothing more important than this. There is nothing worse than this. There is nothing more dangerous to gun owners than this, because unlike your garden variety AR-15 ban or, a ban on magazines over 10 rounds capacity, this takes all the guns away, all of your guns away, having never, ever been in court, never been charged, never been arrested, never been convicted of anything, and your guns are taken away. It's that simple. They're gone. And in many cases, many states, there is an automatic renewals process. And in some cases, the judge on his own initiative can issue the renewal on his own. So this can and will amount to a lifetime gun ban for a very large number of gun owners who never had a day in court, never had what was a conviction. Frank, I can't pronounce your last name, says, what is the point of this group anyway? Frank, I'm trying to describe that to you. We are the American Firearms Coalition, a newly formed organization who was desperately trying to expose and stop red flag gun seizure laws in Washington, D.C. This bill has the full support of NRA, the full support. Chris Cox's video is all over the place backing this bill. You know, Ben, people keep asking, I don't really believe you. The NRA is not supporting red flags. I don't know what else to say. If people can't use Google and YouTube, I really can't help them.
People go with some of their biases on some of this stuff, some of their preconceived notions. But I mean, all you have to do is look. Just maybe for once, don't read the spam mail you get from them, and just go to Google, type it in, read, listen, look it up, and you'll see that every word is true. Otherwise, what are we doing here? Wouldn't it be easier as a gun rights organization for us to just sit here and rail on some Democrats or Michael Bloomberg or anti-gun organizations? Why on earth would we sit here and attack the NRA if the whole thing is just a made-up bunch of baloney? You know, we're talking to gun owners here, right? Right? I mean, just either that or we're all just screwed in the head. I mean, I don't understand people who jump to that conclusion because that would just it'd be really stupid, quite frankly.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people, guys, that don't know their history, that don't know their history. Maybe it's been clouded over. Maybe they've never heard about it. But you say, well, how could the NRA be supporting red flags? Well, how could they support bump stock ban? That was recent history. How could they support fixed NICS in NICS expansion in 2007 and gun-free school zones and the Lautenberg gun ban and Brady check and Hughes Amendment and 68 gun control all the way back to 1934 National Firearms Act, guys? This is
I'm reading the comment here from Mike Finn, and Mike's asking. I think he's asking a sincere question. So, Mike, I want you to listen to Patrick. I'm going to ask him to repeat this because I'll cover the last 18 months, 24 months. I'll do it right now. They backed the bump stock ban. They backed fixed NICS, and they are actively pushing for red flag gun seizures. As you're going to hear from Patrick again, this is just 3 in the last 18 months. So when you say they've been the only ones standing up for gun owners for years, it's just not true. They stand up when it's convenient. Yeah. They stand up when the marketing makes sense to stand up, AKA when there's a Democrat in the White House, but they have been shivving us in the ribs for a long time. Patrick, one more time on some of the history here, please.
Yeah, you mentioned those 3. And of course, you have NICS expansion, which is in 2007 under George Bush. And we should make it clear, it's easy for the NRA to support the Republican candidate for president. That's easy. That's the easy part. The difficult part is, and everybody sees that, the difficult part is what happens in the legislatures and what happens in the Congress. So we have 07, NRA supported NICS expansion. What's NICS? It's Brady. If you heard of Brady in 94, which they also supported, or they cut a deal on it, it's just NICS. It's the same thing. Tens of millions of dollars going to the states to send names of gun owners to be banned from carrying or exercising Second Amendment rights in the rest of their lives. You've got gun-free school zones. I believe that was 99 or multiple times it was voted on in the Congress under Bill Clinton. You've got 96, 97, 98, Lautenberg gun ban, 94, the Brady check, 86, Hughes Amendment under Reagan. Of course, everybody loves Reagan, but Hughes Amendment was atrocious gun control. 1968, massive gun control. I guess that was under either Nixon or I guess it was Lyndon Johnson still at that time. And then you had all the way back to the 1930s. So if you doubt us, like Aaron said, just Google, guys. You can literally see screenshots, cutouts of the NRA Rifleman magazine or whatever the heck they called it back 80, 90 years ago, where whoever the head of this, the Pepe Le Pew, Wayne LaPierre of the time, bragging about, yeah, we wrote the bill, yeah. And that is kind of the modus operandi of the NRA is they want access. They want to be able to talk to the Republican or the Democrat and cut whatever deal they think they can cut. And thankfully, because of the internet, we can expose them on this issue. And a lot of people
that's what I was going to say, not to cut you off, man. That's what I was going to say was that, people say, well, I've never heard this. This can't be true because I've never heard it. Well, yeah. You have to ask yourself the question, has anybody ever answered? Have you ever asked the question? Have you ever looked? It's never been easier than it is today in 2019 to find out what happened back in the day. It's never been easier to see what happens in real time in committee hearing rooms in Washington, D.C. It's no longer just for a Politico reporter in doing the Capitol tour in DC or some kind of a state lawmaker who has a connection in Washington, everybody with a smartphone can watch what happens in real time. That's why we all know what's happening now in Washington, D.C. They're pushing red flags. You can watch the hearing. They pushed the bump stock ban and they pushed fixed NICS. NRA did all of that. So I guess I would humbly or not so humbly ask anybody out there who's watching who says, I'm not sure I believe that. I ain't never heard that. Well, have you ever looked? Because you might just never heard about it because you never heard about it before and you never looked. And that's not a problem. It's just, it is what it is. I had some of the comments here. I wanted to read a good, go ahead. Yes. Okay. Is your audio back then, Chris? Are you good? Guys, can you hear Chris? Hear this
bearded monster. Somebody tell us.
Yeah, if you guys can hear Chris, let us know. I got no, they can't hear you yet. Chris, screenshot us that quote, and we'll post it. Ben, you know what that means? With Chris being unable to comment and trolls on his page, that means it's going to fall to you and me.
I'll take
to
care
beat
of it.
the snot out of people all night, not just in our states, but in Christopher's state too. So rest assured, let me find this dude's name. Rest assured, Terry Bending, we will get to you when it serves our purposes.
Well, I just want to say, oh yeah, I mean, we love to whack a troll. That's our favorite thing to do. But make no mistake, I just want to draw the attention back to the bump stock ban in particular. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but everybody should understand that deal by the NRA, that agreement to ban bump stocks, is what started this national push for gun control. All these other issues came from the bump stock ban after what happened in Las Vegas. So if they had just held the line on that, not only would you not be a felon for owning a bump stock right now, but the anti-gun left wouldn't smell the blood in the water that they constantly stinking smell. And so our fight to stop this stuff in Minnesota right now is in large part because the NRA has been selling us out. They've been selling us out.
Well, I think, a lot of people say, well, you guys are dividing the gun movement. We mentioned this earlier, guys. And of course, you can get on Google right now and see all the articles of the anti-gun left, just Huffington Post and fake news, on and on and on, just rejoicing at the NRA tearing each other apart. But remember, this is not a fight that we picked at the American Firearms Coalition, guys. They have massive NRA with Wayne LaPierre and Chris Cox and all these people who run the show there in their ivory tower there at Waples Mill Road. They have decades now of financial improprieties. This isn't right or left. This is massive financial improprieties. As y'all have heard from us, Wayne makes over $6 million a year. Apparently, he's got a $200,000 wardrobe that nobody knew about.
Which he writes off to a third-party vendor, so nobody ever hears about it.
So nobody ever
say a $200,000 wardrobe.
Oh, Patrick.
Exactly.
If you're getting that stuff sourced from some Alex Jones website, then that can't be believable, man. You gotta get better sources. Who's your source on that?
No, I mean, there's this stuff is.
Oh man, I teed that sucker up. I teed it up. I'll have to hit it myself.
Okay.
It was the NRA president, Ollie North, who came out just 3 days ago and said that Wayne had a $200,000 clothing allowance and he charged it off to a third-party vendor so nobody else would know what's going on. It is in.
Can you fathom
the mouth of the president?
Can you fathom being a member of the NRA and knowing that $200,000? I mean, some people have donated tens of thousands of dollars. Can you imagine if those people knew that their $10,000 over the course of like a decade went to do nothing more than to buy tidy whities for $6 million Wayne?
Well, you know they're not
Unreal. I just can't even believe it.
You know they're not tighty-whities. You know what they are. They're Italian suits or whatever, custom suits in some shop out in McLean, Virginia, or wherever the heck he goes to get them. Italian patent leather shoes, probably made for him specifically on some freaking, cow over in Italy or something, guys. And that's what I told. Yeah, exactly. If y'all had come to it with us in Indianapolis, I know it was a bit late in the game for some of y'all to come up there, but I spoke directly to NRA board member Bob Barr from Georgia, and I told Bob the NRA or grassroots people in general, gun owners in general, are not Italian loafers and custom suits in Washington D.C. They're boots and jeans, and I think we saw a lot of other people say that in another article. Somebody said that somewhere. So in other words, the leadership at the NRA, the same guys pushing the Red Flag Gun Seizure legislation, they're eating the $1,000 dinners out in D.C., up in Indianapolis as well, in the presidential suite at the top of the JW Marriott, whereas the plebes, the gun owners down below, are scratching by in blue-collar jobs. There's a disconnect there, guys, and that's why you say, well, why do you guys exist? Well, we exist for that very reason. We represent the everyday average guy who's a gun owner who goes to work every day, whether you're in a corporate job, or whether you work on a farm, or whether you're retired, or whether you travel the country, do it, whatever the heck you do, guys. And that is why we had so many people join this weekend at joinafc.org. We are asking y'all, reject the wasted money, the gun control supporting National Rifle Association leadership, and join up with the American Firearms Coalition at joinafc.org, joinafc.org. Hop over there and join today or at some point tonight, guys. Get on board and become a member. Become a member tonight, guys. Make the leap. Walk away from the people who are wasting your cash and join up with the guys who are kicking political tail. And you saw it over the weekend, exactly what we do. Now, I don't know where we want to.
There was a president. When was that? When was that on your same point, Patrick? When was that presidential debate? This is back in the day, and did they ask Reagan? Somebody asked somebody. You guys can help us out. I'm forgetting this. Somebody was asking one of the contenders, "What is the price of a gallon of milk?" They were trying to prove how out of touch. I honestly can't recall which camp is a national campaign. I forget who it was.
Yeah,
guys, let me know. But I honestly wonder right now if we sat down and somebody asked Wayne LaPierre, what does it cost to buy an off-the-shelf DPMS standard carbine model collapsible stock AR-15 at a gun show? Yeah, I swear to God, who knows? He might say it could be $200. He might say it's $2,000. I have no idea. I don't think he does either. Oh, I know what they cost. I'm saying I have no idea what he would say because he's just that kind of person. These people are so out of touch. They're so out of touch with everyday gun. And that's why I think, okay, Jeff says Hillary Clinton. Maybe that's what it was. That's why they don't see a problem. But they don't think it's going to be a big deal when they say, oh, yeah, it's okay. Ban bump stocks. Who cares? Who cares? Nobody here in NRA Taj Mahal headquarters has one. So we don't care. We don't care. Chris, look, Chris, if you can't talk, you can't send us laugh lines that bust up my concentration. You can't do it. You can't do it. Chris can't talk. In case you're wondering, Chris's voice is his audio is crapped out tonight. So he's going to be the court jester tonight.
Nobody can hear him, Patrick.
And he's
really?
No, they can't hear him.
Oh, you know what it is, Chris? You know what it is, Chris? On the OBS there, look at the desktop audio slide over and your microphone slide over. So right in the middle of your OBS at the bottom, go and check that there. We'll keep talking, see if you can mess with that. But
that's why these guys can sit there and just think, no one cares about the bump stock ban. No one really cares about fixed nicks.
Yeah,
no one really cares.
But Wayne was smart enough to know, maybe normal people don't spend $200,000 a year on underwear and Italian loafers. That's why he ran all the money through a third-party vendor, because you don't want to report that kind of stuff. Well, Brady says someday you guys will have your fancy suits too. Don't worry. We don't want fancy suits. We want our guns left alone.
Yeah,
That's what we
fancy meaning it's $200 instead of $99.99. That's what we're talking about.
buy one, get one.
Look,
Those are my favorite.
yeah, buy one, get one.
Alan Martin says NRA's idea of who they are supporting are the guys who have a corner office and a hunting cabin and go out 3 times a year to trophy hunt. Not the average working man who wants to have his right to self-defense and the Second Amendment protected. Amen. If you guys agree with Alan, give us a thumbs up. That is exactly our point here. These people are out to lunch.
That's right. I think we should transition to some of the guys that we talked to on the ground. This is a classic case of, some of the guys knew about the turmoil and tension going on at the top levels of the NRA, the corruption, and that's what we should call it. You're talking about over $40 million a year going to a vendor, which if they were protecting our, but there's a lot of kickbacks and everything else. But the average guy that we talked to, or gal, we talked to a lot of ladies. There were white people, black people, Hispanic people, all sorts of people there, guys. 9 out of 10 of them, or maybe 19 out of 20, were all, when we passed out a flyer to show them what is going on with the NRA's push for red flag gun seizures in D.C., they were like, hell yeah, man, we got to stop that thing. There were the occasional homer who was in denial, who flipped us off, cussed at us, whatever, but it was undeniable. And I think that is the absolute disconnect that you see with the swamp monsters, Wayne LaPierre and Chris Coxix, and the difference between us. We're not swamp monsters. We never have been. We never will be. And the moment that we are, pull the plug on us, just like we're asking y'all to do right now. Pull the plug on the big, bad swamp monsters in D.C., and join up with the American Firearms Coalition, guys. But the guys that we talked to on the street, they looked up, they saw the plane, they saw our trucks driving around with the flags and the banners. They read our flyer and they said, yes, I'm going to stop red flags and I'm going to sign your petition, because what's happening at the top level of the NRA inside the walls of Capitol Hill trying to cut a deal on red flag gun seizures is unacceptable. What did y'all experience, guys? I mean, do you have any stories that you can think of?
First, I want to give a shout out, though, to my wife.
Okay.
I believe she has the time to watch tonight, but she sent me a screenshot. It was 1992. U.S. President George H.W. Bush was forced to admit during a debate he had no idea how much a gallon of milk cost during a debate with Bill Clinton and Ross Perot. So there we go. And I bet if you ask $6 million Wayne, what is a factory DPMS or Rock River Arms, AR-15 carbine cost right now, he'd be like, I don't know, $2,500. Like these people live in La La Land. And in case you're not a gun person, you're asking, hey, now's a good time to buy because they are cheap, like $600 cheap right now. So if you got a gun show, it's a buyer's market right now. Thank you to President Trump, which Patrick asked the question. Man, I was going to rock right on a Christopher's buddy in Ohio right there. But Patrick asked the question. Yeah, I mean, the average guy in the street reaction, sure, there were some folks who were upset because they've given, God knows how many tens of thousands of dollars to the NRA. But there was a tremendous number. I had a benefactor member stop me. I was going Facebook Live with Ben. Mike Finn, Chris says, hey, put your website up. Where can we sign up? Mike Finn is asking. So maybe Chris can, since Chris can't talk, maybe Chris can do some IT stuff and put them in some of our pages.
JoinAFC.org. JoinAFC.org. Maybe write it on a piece of paper, Chris.
That's a good place to stop. So, just
print it out.
These comments are killing me. There's a benefactor member of the NRA, probably 70 years old, nice older guy. I was taught to respect my elders. I do that as best I can until they've lost any right to be respected. And there were some of those out there, make no mistake, in Indianapolis over the weekend. But this guy pulls me aside. I'm going Facebook Live with Ben. He and I are kind of going at the same time. I stepped off screen and had Ben run solo, which he likes to do. And this guy was like, look, he's like, I hear you talking. I just don't believe you. Can you back up any of this about them pushing red flags? And I was trying to show him on my phone, but he couldn't hear very well. He couldn't hear the YouTube video. I was literally holding my phone up to his ear and he couldn't really hear it. So I said, let me ask you a question, sir. I said, you're a benefactor member, right? That's big. That's a $5,000 minimum buy-in, folks. $5,000 minimum. You give him $5,000 at least. And he's like, many times that. And I said, okay, question for you. I said, have you ever seen a piece of mail? You get their mail, right? Like every 15 seconds. And he's like, yeah. Have you ever seen a piece of mail from them asking you to sign a petition or contact your senator and demand that he or she oppose red flags S7 in the U.S. Senate. And he kind of looked down and he said, well, no, I haven't. I said, not to offend you, but do you get email? And he's like, yes, Sonny, I'm not that old yet. I get email. And I said, do you get any emails from them saying oppose red flag gun seizures in D.C.? He said, no. I said, do you get any social media videos or memes or a radio ad or a TV ad or anything that would give you some reason to believe they're actually trying to oppose the bill? And he kind of looked down at the ground for a little bit. And he kind of looked up after about 20 seconds and he's like, nothing. Got nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, sir, that is because they've done nothing. That's because they've done nothing. And so I said, I know it sucks to hear it, from me after you've given so much cash to them. I get that. I said, but man, you are being played. And Patrick, I had that experience numerous times out there where there wasn't a lot of time to talk to people. We were busy. We had a mission. We were kind of busy out there, but I talked to as many as I could. And, there's a lot of guys who are really legit and they're very upset. They're very fired up.
Well, props to that guy. I mean, if I gave $10,000 or $20,000 to a cause, it would be very hard for me to mentally just stop and listen to somebody tell me that I was flushing my money down the drain. There was this one guy. So there we were passing out these flyers and this guy goes walking by. He's old. I mean, old. He's got this huge neck brace on. Clearly the gentleman had a lot of health problems and he's walking by and he just looks sick. He looks in tough shape. And he hears us talking about Wayne LaPierre and he goes, I love him. And Patrick turns around and I was standing right there. Patrick says he's getting paid $6 million a year and he's supporting red flag gun seizure legislation. He said, I don't care. I love him.
Doesn't care.
And I couldn't believe this. Like, maybe I thought that gentleman could use a little bit of finances to cover some of his medical bills instead of padding $6 million Wayne's pockets. But, there were a couple people like that. There were a couple, but there were a lot of great people. And the ones we did get a chance to talk to, an old lady, she walks up to me and she said, and she's probably 4 foot nothing. And she just said, I don't really believe what you're saying. And so I just told her I spent
Mary Hammer.
Yeah.
There weren't any cats, so it wasn't her.
No, there weren't any cats. We weren't giving out free cats. Otherwise, Marion Hammer would be tripping across the street to get to us. But no, and I just explained it to her, and she said, "Oh, that's terrible," and she agreed 100%. And then she came back later and got on our camera and demanded that Mitch McConnell build the wall. So she was a great lady.
I see our good friend Dave Keene is back again.
Big Keen.
I love it. I love how trolls make this like their weekly thing. Like,
well, I know. And what's funny is that either Dave Keene is really desperate or Dave Keene has like multiple personalities, but now he's on the Missouri page with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. The other day he was in the Wyoming page. It's like all this dude does is just like tries to troll. So I wrote back and said, dude, you're a loser. You're a loser. That's why I said just now to Dave. So, Keen Chris is Keen as
hey guys,
Oser.
Hey, one of our Georgia Gun Owners Life members just messaged me. Stuart Griffin was there with us on the ground in Indianapolis. He took 2 days off of work to come up with us guys, and he was an absolute hero. When we were putting the banner on the truck, I mean, the guy was laying on top of the truck, and from us
in the rain. Those of us in Georgia, even when it's 50 degrees, but it's like, I mean, it was pretty dang cold, right, guys? I mean, there was some nasty wind. Stuart was laying up there, whatever, but it was pretty nasty. But he just told me a story, since we're talking about stories from people at the convention. One of the NRA members, an older lady, Stuart handed some of his flyers to, or handed a flyer to. She read it. She said, "Give me some of those." Oh,
And
yeah. Yes.
she started taking those flyers. I believe she handed them out and then headed into the convention to hand it out. There's talking about 80,000 people in there.
Well, that's the thing. The Wayne LaPierre, he got a bunch of cops to come out and try to muscle us off the public sidewalks.
Exactly. That's another story.
They came out. I mean, they walked out the door and they were ready to go. And they start shouting, "You get off this sidewalk or we're going to arrest you." And we're
exactly.
like, "Relax,
Somebody tell that
buddy. We've been doing this for like 100 years. We know how this works." And so that is what Stewart told this gal, that they're trying to kick us off the sidewalks. They're threatening to arrest us for peaceably passing out this literature. And that, God bless her soul, made her so angry to see our right to free speech. It made her so mad. Going to the NRA convention, she said, "Give me a stack of those." And she marched right on into that convention center with a couple inches of flyers tucked under her shirt to go pass out inside the convention. So God bless a woman like her. Dave Keith, you are a giant loser.
Roger Sycamore says someone needs to get Chris a freaking whiteboard.
Good idea.
I love it.
Hey,
I love it.
Look, let me mention something, Aaron, on that point. So yeah, the NRA on day one, we were passing out these flyers everywhere. We had the plane flying over. We had the truck flying by. We had social media pounding into the convention. We had email pounding into the convention and across the country. The NRA was pissed. So yeah, within about an hour of us starting to pass out flyers on day one, they made up a rule, which wasn't even a rule. You can't stand here on the sidewalk. You got to go across the street. Okay, so we go across the street the first day onto the convention center sidewalk. I believe it's a public sidewalk. We're getting tens of thousands of these flyers out. People are like, hell yeah, stop the red flags. So we had a pretty good day. We did the show that night. Then we show up the next morning, and they were ready. Okay, and you know why they were ready? Because it was a cavernous convention center. If you've ever been to a big city convention center, guys, I mean, this is like 2 or 3 city blocks at least.
Oh, yeah.
15 acres of gun show. It was a big gun show. We'll give them credit for that. They put on a dang good gun show, you know. And I think the average guy appreciates that, and so do I. But inside that convention center, I'd go in there to go to the bathroom or whatever. You didn't have to have credentials to get in that. But these flyers, they were on tabletops. They were in the bathrooms. They were, somebody would toss it on the floor every now and then. We're not trying to litter, but you would see people carrying these around. They stuff it down in their NRA bag. They were everywhere. And so day two, the NRA was ready. Within maybe a half hour, that's when they sent the security and police forces outside, I believe, to threaten Chris to get off the sidewalk, to get across the street. But this wasn't just the police, guys. This was the NRA doing this, and they were pissed that the veil has been lifted and they have been exposed on this red flag thing right at their own convention. So obviously we touched a nerve there.
What was fun though is that they couldn't stop the airplane. I mean, they couldn't stop the airplane. They couldn't stop our multiple mobile sign banners. I mean, it was a good program. I want to answer a couple of the questions here that have been kind of piling up for the last little bit. I'm having a warning about my internet connection, so I might lose something here. But David Adkins is saying, please clear up the fact that the USCCA is not supporting red flags. You guys all saw this about 10 days ago now, 7 or 8 days ago. Yeah, USCCA's online Facebook support staff came out with a horrendous statement about red flags. Very bad stuff. Then about 48 hours later, give or take, Ben, they came out and I forget the president's name. What's the head honcho?
Tim Schmidt.
Schmidt came out with what I consider to be pretty much like the gold standard in an organization, making a clarification or a course correction and making it very clear that he had an idiot employee who made a mistake. He took full responsibility for that. And so they would absolutely not ever support those. And more to the point, they're trying to find a way to redraft their coverage to assist gun owners who are the victims of a red flag gun seizure law. So, somebody asked me offline, they said, well, does he actually mean that? Or is he just responding to market pressures? And my answer was, I don't care. I mean, I don't care. His answer was perfect. They are going to oppose these. They do not support them, and they are going to try to find a way to cover people who get hit with these things down the road. So we really appreciate the response that we saw from USCCA. That was a great response.
Well, it's more than Chris Cox or Wayne LaPierre ever did when they got called out for supporting red flag gun seizures. I want to read this quick. John Hunter says, you guys need to do a huge rally. Why haven't you done this yet? It's time to stop talking and rather standing peacefully at the Capitol, letting Tommy Mommy see how much support there is for guns. What are you guys waiting for? Facebook chit chat doesn't get it done all the way. We need just got on this video. I don't know if you didn't see what we were doing last weekend, but that's what we're talking about here. All of us were in Indianapolis with an airplane in the sky, trucks on the ground, boots on the ground, passing out literature, talking to hundreds of thousands of gun owners on social media, on Facebook Live, nationwide, bringing attention to a very large gathering of gun owners about red flags. So I don't know what you're talking about when you say that Facebook chat doesn't get it done and we need boots on the ground. But that's exactly what we've been doing now, and is what we're going to continue to do. So pay attention, watch what's going on, get involved. And as far as
and it's what we do, like, I don't know, 5 months out of the year, or in Christopher's case, 10 months out of the year, in state capitals all across the country. Ben's boots were on the ground at 2:45 in the morning last night, this morning in St. Paul, as gun grabbers were trying to hammer through a massive gun control omnibus bill. I mean, Christopher's boots will be on the ground tomorrow in the Federalism Committee in Ohio, who was hearing proponent testimony on constitutional carry laws. So like Ben said, maybe you're new, and so we'll try to give you a pass and not flame too hard. But, man, you are talking to the people who do this stuff on the ground every single day. Every single day.
Yeah.
So
John,
let's
clear that up. John just says, I'm talking Minnesota. I didn't see but 10 pro gunners at House meetings. John, look, bro, I mean, we've been hammering the Minnesota legislature. The members of Minnesota Gun Rights have sent in 115,000 emails to lawmakers opposing gun control. We had a rally in February with well over 1,000 gun owners there. We're doing everything that can possibly done to stop this stuff. So again, just watch a little bit closer and get involved. Get involved if you're not.
Yeah, Ben, and you don't even have to defend yourself, Ben, other than explain. Look, this is the 21st century, guys. Yeah, we can go march around the Capitol, and there's a time and a place for that. There's a time and a place for testifying in committee hearings. But the only thing these politicians care about is how much pressure they are getting and how many people are calling. And there is no doubt that the Minnesota legislature, they're getting hammered by the members and supporters of the Minnesota Gun Rights Organization.
So much so that that Democrats in Minnesota, radical anti-gun Democrats, called up Michael Bloomberg's groups and said, guys, you need to get more phone calls and emails coming into Democrats, because Democrats in Minnesota are getting cold feet because all they're hearing from is Minnesota gun rights members. They're not hearing from anti-gunners. So, how's that? How's that?
Nice.
Well, hey, let's
do a check through a minute here of the latest members, those who have joined the American Firearms Coalition in just the last half an hour. How long have we been going live here right now, guys?
Well, I'll shout real quick. Nicole commented right here and said, I joined today. So maybe there's a Nicole in that list.
Yes, she is actually the first person that I was going to list off. Nicole, I won't mention her last name. We normally don't. But if Nicole is from Fountain, Minnesota, then Nicole just joined up with the American Firearms Coalition. Guys, that's joinafc.org. We'll read off all the names here that we have time for. Paul from Portland, Oregon. Boy, people out west blame me when I say Oregon. Paul joined up at joinafc.org. We appreciate that very much, Paul. Anthony from Rock Springs, Wyoming, just joined the American Firearms Coalition at joinafc.org. Guys, if you want to join, that's the place to go. It's joinafc.org. Norris just joined up from Laverne, Minnesota. That's where my parents went for steak dinners like once every couple of months. There was supposed to be some hot shot steakhouse in Laverne. Maybe there still is. I don't know. Gerald from Fort Jennings, Ohio, just joined the American Firearms Coalition. Let's see. Tim from Riverside, Rhode Island, just joined up with the American Firearms Coalition. Jeffrey from Galloway, Ohio, just joined, guys. The website, again, is joinafc.org, joinafc.org. Ed from Stanley, Wisconsin, just joined the American Firearms Coalition. Let's see. Rachel from Prattville, Alabama, just joined up with the American Firearms Coalition. Hans from Northport, Florida, also joined the American Firearms Coalition. Michael from Freeport, Minnesota, also just joined the American Firearms Coalition. Coy from, I can't pronounce this as well as I would like to, Bucyrus, Ohio. I don't know. I'm going to stop trying. Just joined up with the American Firearms Coalition. Guys, you want to get involved in the fight, this is the place to be. This is the place to be, because we're not going to sit on the river. We're not going to make backroom deals, and we're not going to sell you out. Somebody wants to know if the guy in the bottom right is wearing a wig. That would be
it's Patrick.
Patrick. I think they're seeing something behind you in the wall, Patrick. It's the lampshade. That lampshade. I think it might have got you at just the right angle, and they thought you were like an Asian person, maybe. I don't know. No, Caleb, he's not.
He's just a ginger. He's just a ginger.
Oh my God.
The lighting in here is really bad. If y'all knew where I was, you'd be quite jealous. But anyways, I won't go.
He's taking a little time.
Yeah, I'll use the lampshade as a wig here.
There we go. There we go.
Like
that's
room or something. It's weird.
Yeah, a lot of folks here. Man,
Jeff here's got a problem.
Kim, South Charleston, Ohio.
Jeff is frustrated. He thinks that the NRA is the only reason we have a Second Amendment and all of these things. He goes, you guys do remember how things were when Obama was in office. Right after Sandy Hook, the only thing that saved our gun rights after that was our NRA. And then he says, do you guys read the NRA ILA updates on what exactly the NRA is doing? Let's play fair here. And he continues, he really continues on.
Hey, don't forget, what's the guy's name, Ben? What's the guy's name?
Jeff.
Look, I was working for Federal Gun Rights Organization in 2013. The NRA themselves, same thing under Obama in 2013. They tried to cut a deal along with Alan Gottlieb of the Second Amendment Foundation. They tried to cut a deal on the Toomey Manchin expanded federal background check bill, which is a national gun registration. They tried to cut a deal. Here we are 6 years later. It is the same nonsense that they're pulling off. They feel like they're backed into a corner, and they say, we're not going to fight. We're going to cut a deal. That's what they do, and that's what they did in 2013. And you act like there was nobody else out there fighting. Yeah, there were other people out there fighting it. Some of them have lost their way at this point, guys. But, without the NRA cutting a deal, that thing would have been dead before it even got off the ground. Okay, but we had to fight it because the NRA themselves was trying to write, along with Alan Gottlieb. You can find the video online. He said he was trying to rewrite that bill with Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania and Manchin from West Virginia. Probably y'all know a lot about those guys, but
well, and like Chris just sent me a note because he can't talk, and he said, this guy's referred to the daily alerts. He said, never once has the NRA ILA daily alerts, never once have they tried to mobilize gun owners across the country, urging them to help kill either Rubio's federal red flag bill, Graham's federal red flag funding bill, any of them. So again, this is going to be the mantra we have to repeat every show until we're dead. But yes, if you want to sit here and ask us whether or not we know what's going on, there's a good chance we know more than a lot because it's what we do. And these people have never tried to oppose this bill. If you want to prove us wrong, I urge you to do so. Well,
that is the whole reason for our existence. If the NRA was fighting this stuff, if GOA was so wonderful, if NAGR was anything at all, then there would be no reason for an American Firearms Coalition. There would be no reason at all. But quite frankly, the four of us working in a dozen states across the nation have watched with our very own eyes betrayal after betrayal after betrayal, after anti-gun endorsement, after gun control supported, after the NRA trying to stop our pro-gun legislation in our state legislatures. We've watched it for a decade with our very own eyes. And you're not going to see it come from the NRA ILA's daily alerts. You're not going to read it from them. But we here who are on the ground, who are at the Capitol till 3 o'clock in the morning, raining hellfire down on lawmakers on behalf of gun owners, we know what is going on. We see it every single day. And these people are selling you out 110%. Because if they weren't, then why in the hell are we even here?
If that makes sense, guys, if you're tracking what he's saying, give us a thumbs up, because this is absolutely inexcusable. There's no other explanation than that they support this bill. And of course, we know that definitively because of the video from Chris Cox. I want to say one thing here. Where's this guy's name? Wade Withers. Wade Withers. Knock that crap off. I'll erase your spam links trying to sell products on our platform one time, and the next time you'll be banned from our page. Knock that crap off. That's your one shot. There were some other questions I wanted to answer. Somebody was asking, where is this guy? Somebody was asking a little bit ago, and we're going to answer this right now. Oh, before I forget, heavens to Betsy, Chris Laidlaw's mom. This is a shout out to an OGO supporter of the American Firearms Coalition, Chris Laidlaw. Your mother joined up last week with the American Firearms Coalition. I think it was, is it Linda? Linda. And shout out to Chris Laidlaw's mom. That's the best way.
Gun rights moms are the best.
Exactly. You know, I gotta say, I was watching you, Ben, yesterday. And guys, if you're not watching Minnesota Gun Rights, Ben was in the Capitol yesterday all day, literally from like 9 a.m. till 3 a.m. In this gun control fight. And there's this couple hundred anti-gun person rally in the Capitol, and there was some 5'0" gal in her 80s who walks up to Ben, and she's like, "What you're doing is disgusting," and some people, a lesser person, might struggle with how do you balance the truth with trying to be respectful. Ben had no such struggles. And he said, "What you're doing is disgusting." He said, "My grandmother would not be caught dead at a rally trying to disarm me from protecting her great grandchildren. You are disgusting." And I forget how. Oh, yeah, so you're right. So gun rights moms are great because we have a sick number of these Bloomberg lion commie mommies, as Chris likes to say. And that was there was one more gal there who was trying to contend against Ben, and she was given this scenario about if some guy attacks her in the parking lot and Ben was nearby. I think she was trying to say she was afraid of Well,
I told her that if we were walking out of Walmart together and some thug went, "Hey, there's a sweet old lady carrying a purse. I'm going to knock her to the ground, kick her in the face, steal her purse, and kill her." I said, I would pull out my firearm.
And she cuts you off and she says, she goes, "I hope you would not shoot him."
And she's like, "You are taking away my right." And then she stopped and I said, "To die? I'm taking away your right to die? What are you
right to die?" And Ben's like, "I'm sorry, I'm killing him."
I told him, "I'm plugging that sucker. That's just how I roll."
Oh my gosh. So yes. So shout out to Chris Laidlaw's mom for getting involved. We appreciate that very much. I think it was Linda was her first name. So appreciate that. Let's see. Randy says, "I'm completely embarrassed and ashamed of the NRA." Yeah, we all are. We all are. George Bratton says, "Do you guys want to fix or replace the NRA?" George, we're under no illusions as to our ability to reform this from the inside. These guys have 50 board members, and the fact that Wayne LaPierre was reinstated yesterday unopposed with a unanimous vote is all the proof that you have to have. This thing is toxic. It is toxic, and there is no way. Yeah, and since Chris can't talk, I mean, this happens less than a week after the bombshell New Yorker expose, and less than 3 days after Ollie North tried to oust Wayne LaPierre as well. So if this amount of national pressure cannot get the NRA BOD to get off their ass and hold people accountable and clean house, then no.
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly,
to reform that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not.
Well, the new president is from Georgia. I think her name is Carolyn Meadows. She's been around a long time, American Conservative Union. But it's like, I mean, with all due respect, we talked about our elders and this and that, but she's an older lady. You know, again, nothing wrong. I know there's probably some of y'all out there, but it's like, wouldn't they want to?
No, that's not the right point. I guess the point is that the president's a functionary. The president's a nobody. They're functionaries. The board is in charge of Wayne LaPierre. Wayne is the power. He has been for almost 4 decades, and the board didn't even put up a challenger of any kind against Wayne. So that's the bottom line. He's unfettered. And by the way, Ben, J.C. Watts, my friend here in Iowa, says you can shoot anybody who tries to rob me, Ben.
You got it, JC, man.
JC, he's got your back. He's got your back. Somebody asked a question a while back, and we're going to get into that. Let's see.
I'll ask one really quick question. Becky wants to know if there's a way for us to put our flyer up in a printable format.
We got to do that.
We and others may pass out the flyer that we were distributing in Indianapolis to other gun owners. So I think we should get that up on the American Firearms Coalition.org website right away and allow people to print it off. You guys think that's a good idea?
Yeah, we'll definitely make that happen. We'll make that happen. That's
cool.
A good idea.
So check back, Becky. Go to American Firearms Coalition.org. That is the home website. If you want to join up, go to joinafc.org. But American Firearms Coalition.org, all spelled out, is the website for this organization.
Look, I had a question about, they said, were there any anti-gun protesters? Well, yes. There were maybe 2 or 3 dozen of them that we saw. At one point, they went to the corner where we were the day after and started, or maybe after lunch or something, and started chanting and screaming. We actually got video of them. I shot the video. I had State Senator Bouchard from Wyoming with us and Stuart Griffin, and it was hilarious, to be honest with y'all. I was sitting there shooting the video, and all of a sudden, I hear a bunch of sheep, bah, bah, and it was Stuart and Anthony, like just on cue, started at these people, and then I joined in, but they were marching up and down the street. It was a great video. It was actually one of our most viewed videos on the weekend, guys. But yeah, I mean, we make fun of those people. Yeah, obviously they're dangerous people long-term politically. If they ever get enough votes, yeah, they would vote to take our Second Amendment rights away. But there was a few of them there. I mean, honestly, I'm not being facetious. It was maybe 2 or 3 dozen. Obviously there were tons of gun owners there. Our voice was loud. It was intense. We had the plane, we had the truck, we had the flyers. I kind of tallied up the numbers, and some of y'all on our national grassroots email alert list. And if you're not on that, guys, go to stopredflags.com, scroll to the bottom and sign your petition. You'll get on our national email alert list. But counting up social media, email, and the people at the event, which is hard to quantify there, even though there were 80,000 supposedly, I counted just the 4 of us guys, Senator Bouchard, Ryan Marlowe, Stuart Griffin, and anybody else who helped us, Mr. Dorr and Ethan. Over 500,000 people were reached by these guys right here, okay? You can go do your rallies at the Capitol, and I'm all for that at the time and place, but we are using tools that we have at our disposal to reach gun owners, educate, identify, mobilize them against the NRA's dangerous red flag gun seizures. And as we can see tonight, and as we've seen for the last 3 months of our existence, gun owners are flocking to the American Firearms Coalition. And if you're not yet a member, there's more coming up in the coming weeks, guys. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. But if you want to get on board tonight, you're going to be we're going to be around, guys. We're going to get bigger and badder and nastier. But if you want to hop on board now, go to joinafc.org, joinafc.org. Aaron, do you want to do another membership update there tonight?
I will. A couple.
You got to read that comment from Fred, Aaron.
No. I've been cut off the last 4 times in a row.
So I said, I want you to read it. That's all. I'm just dying over here.
Yeah. Fred wants to know if Ollie North has joined the American Firearms Coalition. I think we can. We'll make him an honorary field director. That's all.
Make him an offer.
That's all good. And Chris already covered Ryan Marlowe with his sign, but Ryan was out there with us. Geez Louise, all day. Friday, Monday, Saturday. Took off time from work and drove all the way out from somewhere in Ohio. And okay. So
don't forget Stewart.
Huge shout out. You mentioned Stewart, so I'm mentioning Ryan. Somebody, sometimes I remember one time when I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan. Love listening to Dave Ramsey, and I always kind of ask myself the question, like, how does this guy stay on the air? Because people ask the same freaking questions every 5 seconds, and he always laughs and he's like, as long as people are dumb when it comes to debt, I'll be in business. I'll have something to say. And Dennis Connolly gives us our version of that. As long as there's guys like Dennis Connolly out there, we're always going to have something to say. Because he says, you guys are dividing the American gun owner. How about joining with the NRA and working together for the common good? Divided we fall, united we stand. Dennis,
souls.
Dennis, how much more clearly can we say this? They have betrayed you 16 ways from Sunday. If your wife cheats on you 3 times in 18 months, do you honest to God believe she still loves you? Dude, fixed nicks, bump stocks, red flags, and that's all in 3 months. That's all in 18 months. That's all in 18 months. United we stand. Who the hell is united at the top brass of the NRA? Sure, grassroots gunnies are. Absolutely. But NRA top brass is betraying you all the time as they're having their $200,000 clothing allotments and their $5,000, weekend dinners on our dime. They're doing nothing to fight for gun owners. They're betraying you, Dennis. Yeah. They're betraying you. So how many times can you be betrayed and have to take that crap? Robert says maybe if the NRA would stop supporting the red flag laws, we would be united. Robert Blakesley is a great guy, one of my favorite friends. They are the ones who are doing this.
Right.
The NRA are the ones who are sowing the discord. The NRA are the ones who are screwing us over. So don't come on here. Don't come in here and lecture us.
Guys, think about what happened.
Our dog about how we're the ones who are dividing the gun rights community. These people are doing it to us.
Yes.
And we will sound that alarm until they stop doing it. And because they're never going to stop, we're never going to stop.
And think about what they did.
What's that, Patrick?
Okay. Hold up, real quick. Very important. Look, if you think they're fighting for you, no, they're fighting amongst themselves. I mean, the report out of the convention, guys, this was all public. On the top floor of that JW Marriott on, what was it, the Wednesday before the convention starts or the Thursday before the convention starts, you're talking about Wayne LaPierre had his bevy of attorneys, okay, up in his presidential suite, knock, knock, knock. Multi-million-dollar donors and board members knocked on his door along with Oliver North and a letter. I don't know if Ollie was there or not. And they said, if you don't step down, then we're going to release damaging information on you, probably about the suits and all the money that's floating around everywhere. Are those the people that you trust to fight for you? Meanwhile, 33 floors down below, everybody's having a jolly good time, looking at guns and checking in. And no, but up on the top floor, they're fighting amongst each other. They are sowing the discord, and their lobbying apparatus is probably it's powerful, but a disaster. And I don't mean to say that. I'm just saying they got tons of lobbyists, but they're pushing the red flag gun seizure bill. Aaron, we got tons of new members coming in. Why don't you give a brief rundown here, a long rundown?
Yeah, we'll do that right now. And also, in case you haven't heard, Christopher's mic is dead, so that's why he's quiet tonight. Also, somebody asked a little while ago an important question. I'm going to answer it in a moment here. They said, why not just affiliate with Gun Owners of America? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to discuss it here in a little bit. First, though, a recent check here of the latest members of the American Firearms Coalition. This just happened in the last in the last 15 minutes. Kim just joined up from South Charleston, Ohio, the latest member of the American Firearms Coalition. Dwayne in Duluth, Minnesota, just joined the American Firearms Coalition. This is joinafc.org, folks. Joinafc.org. Stephen from Mooresboro, North Carolina, just joined up. Rhonda from Edmond, Oklahoma, just joined the American Firearms Coalition at joinafc.org. Will from Thief River Falls, Minnesota, in the house tonight, a new member of the American Firearms Coalition. Mike Turner from Big Lake, Minnesota, in the house again tonight from Minnesota. Asante, Minnesota, Ben. Asante. James just joined up the American. This is 3 Minnesotans in a row here, folks.
I can't say I'm not surprised.
William from Kamar, Iowa, just joined the American Firearms Coalition. Derek from Austin, Minnesota, which is almost in Iowa. It's almost in Iowa.
But it's
to Iowa. Just joined at joinafc.org. Thank you, sir. Mary from North Canton, Ohio, just joined up. Richard from somewhere in Minnesota just joined up. It's a French name, and I don't do French. I'm sorry. Nick from Sweet Home, Oregon. That's 2 tonight from Oregon. Just joined the American Firearms Coalition. Somebody from Ohio. I butchered this name last time, and I'm not going to try it again. Kevin Emery. Thank you, sir, for your joining up with the American Firearms Coalition. John from Jefferson, Iowa, in the house tonight as a member of the American Firearms Coalition. And Abby, I can't tell, Abby Chanel from Colorado. It says you joined, and then it said it was voided. So I'm not sure that was on purpose or not, but as of right now, it did not go through, Abby. So I want to make sure you are aware of that. Guys, if you want to get joined up, tonight is the time. Joinafc.org, joinafc.org. I want to answer Ryan Chesney's question. What's up with the AFC stuff? Memberships, bumper stickers, decals. Is that going to get sent out soon? Ryan, absolutely. And you're one of the very first members we ever had, so we know you're high up on the list. It's been crazy. Session adjourned here in Iowa last Saturday. We were in Indy all weekend preparing for that. Took quite some time. It's been a crazy busy time. I promise you, Christopher has 20,000 decals in the Ohio field office. Maybe Chris can flash some of those. There he goes. Very good. You guys can see them. I know it's not the same as getting it on your truck, Ryan, but you can at least see it. And we'll be out in the mail with these sometime in the next week or so. Let's let Chris flash some of these on the screen right now. If you got some decals there, Chris, go ahead and show us what we're all talking about here. They'd love to see that. This is the brand new decal, guys, the American Firearms Coalition. It will be out in the mail in around a week. You'll have it shortly. We can promise you that. We promise you that. Does anybody besides me have a T-shirt laying around? Anybody got a T-shirt for Join AFC laying around? I can get one, but I want to hammer some questions here. So maybe a little bit we can show you guys the new T-shirt. They just came in, and we're super happy with them. And it's gonna be cool. You're gonna love the shirt. It's a great shirt. Chris wore it around the entire time at the NRA rally, and people were digging the shirt. JC Watt says, "Join, join, join." What are you waiting for? We appreciate that very much, sir. How do you boil a frog? This guy says, put it in a pot of water and slowly turn up the heat. We are the frog, and the NRA is the cook, giving our rights away piece by piece, keeping their members happy, fattening their pockets, and appeasing the politicians. Dear Lord, JC, you nailed it, man. You nailed it. We appreciate that. Mark Baker says, what? You mean you don't have a great big room full of secretaries that do that stuff for you? Mark is on something here, and that is we are a grassroots organization, do all we can to be all things to all people, and sometimes it takes time. Mark, we're working on it, buddy. Oh, but yeah, obviously, yeah. As this thing builds up, we're going to staff out as much as we need to accomplish our mission. Absolutely, we're not going to half-ass this. That's for sure. So when that time comes, we'll be doing that. But for right now, you're stuck with my lovely face. What can I say? What can I say?
As Brian Becker says, they've been a little busy lately.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see.
Can I talk? Go ahead.
Let's talk about the petition, guys. I know we got a lot of questions about that.
No. I got to answer this question. This guy's asked me 4 times now about GOA. Ben, did you want to hit on that or something different?
So I was just going to answer Jeff one more time about the NRA, but we can roll on.
No, that's fine. It all ties in.
All right. Well, Jeff here. Jeff never mentions the NRA without using the phrase "our NRA." I mean, clearly Jeff has totally and completely bought into the whole mantra. Are this, are that, whatever. You guys are the American Firearms Coalition. We're not yours. It's so weird and weird. But he says flyers and flags or stickers are all great. But until we can organize something that has the legislative power our NRA has, we need to support all of the above. And sarcasm should be above you fellas, by the way.
Bro, we haven't even gone there.
Even fathom how sarcastic we can get. You should have heard the conversations I had with about 9 lawmakers in the Minnesota State Capitol. Their faces were red. Their teeth were ground down to nothing. And if they could have gutted me there on the spot, they probably would have done it. But they couldn't. Here's the deal. You want a slick piece of crap, loser, lobbyist, elitist piece of crap like Chris Cox? Then you go stick with our NRA. But we are grassroots people. We're grassroots mobilizers. You get to see the people commenting around you, Jeff? These are Americans. And they're not a bunch of stuck-up, slick-haired, pretty boy church. No, that's not us. That'll never be us. And if sarcasm makes you think that we are unprofessional, get off. Just leave. Leave our platform. Get out of here. I can't even tell you how fantastic sarcasm is as a political tool to make politicians do what they don't want to do. So you can take your NRA and just go because the sarcasm's here to stay. Yeah. And all the gun control. I mean, look at this. But until we can organize something that has the legislative power our NRA has, we need to support. You know what they're using their legislative power for, Jeff? For Red Flag Gun Seizure legislation, for the bump stock ban, for fixed nicks, for the Brady bill that passed in the 90s, for the Lautenberg Amendment, for all of this stuff. That's what they're using. What power? Well, they're much weaker than they used to be. They used to be very powerful. Now they're a dying breed, going very quickly. But you don't team up. I'll tell you what. I think I can speak on behalf of the entire board of directors of the American Firearms Coalition.
Here we go.
We're happy to team up with the NRA. I think we'll make Aaron the executive vice president. He can take Wayne LaPierre's position. And if they cede all control of the NRA over to the American Firearms Coalition, and we are in charge of steering that organization where it needs to go. And what's Chris? What do you got to be? Yeah, Chris is Chris, so he'll take Chris' spot.
Take Marion Hammer. I want to take Marion Hammer's spot.
Patrick will be Marion Hammer. That's how we'll team up with the NRA. Cede total control to people who actually care about gun owners and aren't afraid to piss off bad politicians and anti-gun losers. I think that works.
I think you're starting to get sarcastic, Ben. So we're gonna have to have you stop.
I'm so
there for a few minutes. I gotta catch a call here. I'm gonna have to ignore that call for a few minutes. I'm ignoring my own mom's phone call. Is that a bad thing? I don't know.
Mom, tune in.
I'm gonna have to hang on one second once here, guys. Hey, Mom, I'm going Facebook Live with 2 of your other sons, and I can't talk right now, but I'll give you a call back shortly. Love you. All right, bye.
We all love our moms.
I'm gonna get in trouble on that one. Let's see here. Somebody was asking, and Patty Hodges, my good friend, says you guys are the real deal, not fakes, and that's the difference, and we appreciate that very much. That's what we're all here to do. Somebody asked, what are you guys doing in Missouri? Very important bill here in the Missouri State Senate, SB 367. Mike, Eric Burleson is my best friend in the entire state. We're on this bill. We've been pushing for gun-free zone repeal in Missouri all session long, and we hope to have information out tomorrow on SB 367. We have been leading the charge all session in Jeff City to repeal deadly gun-free zones. That's been a huge focus of ours with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. More on that later on tomorrow. Somebody asked the question, though, that I think I need to answer. What about gun owners of America? And I'm going to answer that question. I answered it last week, and I'll answer it again, I guess, tonight. They're good people. I'm not going to question their principles. Not going to question, where they are on the issues. But as respectfully as I can say it, it's not 1995 anymore, and we can't fight like it is. This is not a game for philosopher kings and poets. This is a fight for our freedom. This is a fight for our life. Who all watch the news today in Venezuela? There is a shootout war going on right now. A civil war has erupted. They're firing tanks. They're firing machine guns. This is what happens when a population is disarmed. It does not exist in some kind of a static nirvana where everybody just kind of like flitters around, on pixie dust. When a population is disarmed, it ends horribly. It ends violently. This is what happens when a people are disarmed. This is no time to play nice. This is no time to give quarter. This is no time to be super respectful and Mr. Nice Guy. We need to kill these people. Politically speaking, for the love of God, in case you're totally tone deaf right now, these people need to be destroyed. They have to be stopped. And whatever it takes, there is no limit to what we will do as long as it is lawful. There is no limit to what we will do to fight against these people. You can see it for yourself. If we're going to fly an airplane over top of the NRA and over top of their national convention, there's nothing we won't do. There's nothing we find too sarcastic. There's nothing we find too offensive. There's nothing we find too aggressive. We will fight until we have no more energy to fight, period. That's it. And I'm sorry, but I'm just going to say it. GOA is done with that stuff. If they ever had it, they're not doing it. Has anybody seen them throw down in a congressional race in the last 10 years? I've been involved in gun rights politics for over a decade. And guys, except for a handful of sponsored Facebook memes, there's nothing left coming out of there.
Yeah.
Nothing. So principles are essential. That's your starting block, obviously, as an organization. But your tactics have got to be cutting edge. They've got to be up to speed, and you have to have the balls to implement.
That's right.
And there's nothing more I have to say about the last question than the fact that we freaking flew the damn airplane over top of the NRA. These people are gentlemen scholars, and we are killers, political killers. We are going after these people, and the more resources we have, the more we can escalate the pain. So for those people out there who are asking, well, how come you haven't done this or haven't you done that? Dude, we're brand new. Okay, we're just getting going. But those guys, I'm sorry, they're nice people. They're stuck in the 90s. And as Bob says, I did not see GOA with Ben yesterday in the Minnesota State Capitol. They have no state affairs program, none whatsoever. They haven't for a very long time. And this is what it is. This is what it is. So as we can scale up this organization, we can scale up the pain. And we look forward to doing exactly that. We want to hurt these lawmakers in their districts. We want them to be feeling the pain in their districts. We want them to know there's a price to be paid. Everybody knows they're not going to have any problems with NRA because they can all, if you can suck air these days, you can get an A. Everybody knows that. Everybody also knows there's no pain coming from GOA. They know it.
Yeah,
they know it.
It's
everybody
100%
knows
true.
that if anybody even knows the name, of the National Association for Gun Rights, you know that they haven't been MIA from the field of battle for 5 years. 5 years. If you even know who they are, they're referred to as the National Association for Gun Giveaways, and everybody in America who knows who they are, which is the four of us plus about 10 more people, knows that is their real name. If you want an organization that is going to give you $34 worth of gear for your $35 membership, join somebody else. if you want a group that has political guts, if you want people who are gonna fight hard, we are the ones.
Mike Olson says, is there a gun rights organization in Colorado to help them out? That's where the National Association for Gun Rights is based out of. They can't even keep their own freaking state in line. And that's what Aaron's saying about GOA. I mean, I'll just say it. I was getting in the face of a bunch of nasty old liberals at the Capitol yesterday. Maybe I'm on on point here, but yeah, that's exactly what Aaron's saying is 100% true. GOA, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. And but they're just old and tired. They got no fight left in them. They don't do what we did. They don't do, if they ever did, they don't do it anymore. And this is the fallacy. This is the fallacy of people who think that it's an organization's head that gets stuff done. People go, oh, none of this gun control would have ever been stopped if it wasn't for our NRA. No, it is grassroots gun owners' outrage and activism that shuts down gun control and passes pro-gun legislation. So when everybody goes and jumps on, the GOA train, because the NRA is selling them out, they're trading one for another. The power is in the people to do what it is that we're trying to do here, to stop this gun control from passing, to make sure lawmakers know what they're in for. And quite frankly, the NRA is selling us out. NAGR is an internet scam organization. What's that?
Scamming you out.
Yes. Oh, I mean, like I said, yeah, they're an internet organization
selling you out versus scamming you out. That was my shtick on that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're nobody losers. I mean, honestly, look at this. I want to tell you this. Right after the Parkland, Florida shooting, when all of this exploded, everybody remembers what happened in February of 2018. All of this explodes. We're fighting like hell all over the place. And the head guy for the National Association for Gun Rights flies over to Europe, and he's riding segways through the Alps with this little pink hat on. I'm not even lying to you. Dudley Brown was riding a Segway through the European Alps on what I assume is an organization-paid vacation when all hell is breaking loose in D.C. And we sat here, and this is part of the reason why this organization was formed, because we're sitting here going, how is it even possible? I mean, again, I was at the Capitol till 3:00.
I was just going to say, I think Ben is bitter because he didn't get to bed till 3:45 in the morning.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
This is what you do for your people when your gun rights are on the line. This is what you do for your people. And Dudley Brown was on a freaking Segway wearing a pink hat, floating through the European Alps when hell was breaking loose in Washington, D.C.
I think it was Vegas.
What's that?
I think it was Vegas, though, to be honest with you. But that was a different one.
Yeah, I mean, the guy goes on so many freaking vacations, it's hard to keep track of them. But we could never in good conscience say, go join that organization. They're fighting like hell for you. Couldn't do it with any of these organizations. Again, that is why the American Firearms Coalition exists. That's why we were formed, because there isn't another national organization that is doing this, can do this, will do this, or in any other way will get this stuff done. And that's why AFC is getting huge. We're growing by leaps and bounds daily, hundreds, thousands of people signing up all over the nation because people are hungry for this. They're sick and tired of going backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards. And we don't have any more time for $6 million losers. We don't have any more time for gentlemen scholars. We need political killers, and we are political killers. That is how this works with the American Firearms Coalition. So you can sit there and scratch your head and come up with any, oh, well, didn't you read the NRA's, legislative alerts? But I got a Facebook meme from GOA last election season, or I get 85,000 emails from the National Association for Gun Rights begging me for money all the time. But you can come come up with whatever questions you want, but that is the answer. They're either frauds, scammers, or old, tired, and totally out of the fight. And the American Firearms Coalition is growing by leaps and bounds, cutting edge. We are political killers. And in a few months, we're going to be huge. We're already delivering monster blows for gun owners. That is what last weekend was in Indianapolis. It was a massive blow against red flags, an exposure of Chris Cox and Wayne LaPierre and their support for gun control. Just look at the swings we are already taking, and we're just growing. And that's how it's going to be with AFC from now forever, from now until forever. So throw your questions at us if you want, but that is the answer. That is the answer. And we'll say it all day long. We'll say it all day.
Well, so where the heck are we, guys? I mean, so Senate is back in session, right? Aren't they back in D.C., right?
On Monday, yep.
A little bit of break. Lindsey Graham was working with Donnie and Dick Blumenthal on this red flag stuff. So the fight is still at our hands. What's the next step? What do we got to do?
We know Lindsey Graham is redrafting a new version of this bill. So if we thought that S7 was bad, Marco Rubio's NRA-backed red flag gun seizure law, we know it's going to be worse now because Lindsey is publicly saying he's working with Senate Democrats to find new language. So we know it's going to get far worse than what it is. So we're waiting to see right now where this what this new language looks like when it comes out. But we know it's going to be worse. And guys, that's why we're pushing this petition so hard. StopRedFlags.com. If you haven't yet done so, guys, go to StopRedFlags.com and sign our petition. What it is it's our open letter to President Trump, and it's urging him to kill this bill, using his power to kill the bill if it gets to his desk, and kill it right now with a tweet. And we're going to deliver these petitions to D.C. sometime soon. We're going to haul these to D.C. and get them to the White House. And we need you guys to stand with us and add your name to that list. Every person who signs this petition, your name, your voice will be heard and delivered by us as close as we can get them to President Trump. To urge him to kill this bill. That's the big push right now, guys, is StopRedFlags.com, because we need this to be huge. We're trying to get 100,000 petitions. We have a huge start on that number right now, guys, but we need to get to 100,000 petitions, and we're going to drop these off as fast as we can. I want to do a big shout out to Christopher in Missouri. Christopher is on the comment feed right now. There's somebody else here. The comments have moved away so fast, I can't find the person's name. There's a gentleman there who wants to join the American Firearms Coalition. He can't afford to right now. And Christopher has already contacted us and said he wants to pay for his fellow patriots membership. He wants to do exactly that. And so we're going to talk tomorrow. Christopher, shoot us a PM. As I said to you, shoot us a PM. We'll talk to you tomorrow. I will call you myself, and we will arrange that tomorrow. Others are asking me to clarify. So what is the difference between the American Firearms Coalition and, for example, Iowa gun owners or the Missouri Firearms Coalition? Guys, again, these are state groups that work in your state capitals. The American Firearms Coalition is our national affiliate that we are working with at the national level, because as you heard from Ben, we're not able in good conscience to refer people to any other one of these groups right now across the country for various reasons. And so this organization is backed up by 11 state gun rights organizations now, from Idaho to Ohio, from Minnesota to the bottom side of Missouri, and everywhere in between. I guess actually Georgia is more south than southern Missouri, so I should say Georgia to mark our southern location. And yeah, guys, that's the big push here. So if you want to get involved in the federal fight, that's the American Firearms Coalition. For state stuff, that is the push in your state. Mike Finn wants to know about the group then in Missouri, and he's asking various questions. Mike, it's the Missouri Firearms Coalition. I had the high honor of helping to direct that organization. He's asking where I'm located. Mike, I live in a rental car. What can I say? Yeah. Travel all the time. I was in Indy last weekend. I'll be in Jeff City shortly again. I'm based out of Des Moines, Iowa, but I live in a rental car for about 5 months out of the year during session, as most of the guys you see here, except for Ben. Ben brings his sleeping bag to the Capitol, and he lives in a broom closet in St. Paul for about 5 months out of the year.
I live in the speaker's office. That's how that
Actually,
works.
he lives in the assistant. He lives in the minority leader's head, and he doesn't pay any rent. He doesn't pay any rent.
I got to read this. Matthew Daniels says, haha, as a former member of NAGR, I can say they aren't even trying. I can't tell you when I got an email from them last. That reminds me, I have a NAGR shirt to get rid of. I'm thinking of taking it to a gun range, turn that NAGR shirt into a holy shirt, he says.
There we go.
Do it, Matthew. Do it.
There we go.
Brady says Benjamin Dorr for governor. So, there is that.
Uh-huh.
You're going to have to get past Omar up there whenever she runs. Probably Dorr versus Omar.
Dorr versus
Omar.
Jeez. I did see, Ben, that guy today was convicted in Minneapolis for murder. That was he a Somalian who became a police officer, then killed that gal.
Yeah, he got into office. He got in. He became a police officer because they had affirmative action. They had to have a hiring quotas. They had to get X number of Somalians in there, and they threw this guy into a cop into a police officer's uniform, rushed him through his training, and he blasted this woman a couple of years ago. She came up to talk beside the door, and he just stuck the gun out and just blew her away. And today he was convicted of what was it again, Aaron? There's a whole list. 3 counts, guilty of 3rd-degree murder, guilty of 2nd-degree manslaughter, and has been taken into custody. As far as I'm concerned, justice is served on this guy. We're actually, quite frankly, surprised. Yeah, in order to get a 3rd-degree murder charge, it has to be proven that you have a depraved mind, and that's exactly what this guy had. Hey, that's Minnesota for you.
Jeez. I got to read Jeff Kelly here commenting in Iowa. I can't tell what he's trying to say. First, he said, never compromise. I'm okay with that. And he said, you Minnesotans are as crazy as Californians and New Yorkers. That could be true, too. And he says, you can't trust the Ohio guy, the Iowa guy. You can't trust them. I think you're referring to me and Chris. And then he says, you guys can't take it. You guys can't take it. When I said the Minnesota, Ohio, and Iowans don't know, the Iowa guys don't know if they're Democrats or Republicans. That's just the truth. Jeff,
sounds like Jeff likes to talk.
I can't tell what you're saying. So get it. I mean, I'm not going to drop a band hammer yet. I don't know what the heck the guy's trying to say. So I'm not sure he's talking about Iowans, how Iowa carried Obama twice, or if he's talking about the fact that he thinks that we are all closet Democrats. So Jeff Kelly, this is your chance to clarify what you're saying before we take action. Caleb Micah Young wants to know, how come I can't hear the guy from Ohio?
Chris,
Caleb, because he has nothing good to say tonight, so we muted him. We muted him all night. Now, actually, Chris had an unfortunate mic problem tonight, and he has no audio. So his microphone is not working. So he's been reduced to a 21st century whiteboard. He types his finest thoughts on paper. He prints them off and he holds them up to the TV. He says, "Oh man, that sucks." Yeah, not good. Somebody else was asking us, guys, what other states, do we have organizations in? Because that is a good question. People ask this question a lot. What about the groups in their states? And as we've said before, if the organization you guys have in your state, if that organization pretty much isn't hated by most of the lawmakers, if not all of them, if they're not hated by the media, if they don't have a bunch of online trolls trying to always attack them, then the truth of the matter is that you do not have an organization in your state that is fighting the way they're supposed to fight. Because these days, jeez Louise, these days, if you fight hard, if you don't give in, and if you call a spade, then I got to tell you, everybody hates you. Everybody hates you. And we're cool with that. The four of us have long ago been very, very fine with that, because our gun rights deserve nothing less than everything we can possibly bring to bear. Our children are counting on us. Our grandkids are counting on us. And as I like to say a lot of times, This is a debt of honor that we have to our forefathers who gave us these freedoms. They didn't just give it to us and then die and figure, well, that's it. They assumed that we would do our job and carry that mantle of freedom forward for the generations that would come behind us, like these folks did for you and I. And so that's why we have no problem getting punched in the teeth. That's why we have no problem punching other people in the teeth, politically speaking, because we are willing to do whatever it takes within the bounds of legality to fight for gun owners and fight for gun rights. And so that's what we're talking about here, guys. That's what we're talking about.
That's why yesterday, I mean, quite literally, it was, I think it was eight different lawmakers shouting at me. I was shouting at them. We were shouting back and forth. We had a great time. But, you know, they were furious. They were furious at us for putting pressure on them in St. Paul. And I said, go pound some sand. And when you're done, pound it a second time. And here's a great big screw you from all the members of MGR. How about that? You know, and that's just how it goes. That's how it goes. You have to be able to look at a lawmaker when that lawmaker's coming up to you going, you guys are done. You're done. You are. When they lay on the threats, when they attack your membership, when they do this, you have to be able to hold the freaking line and do what Chris is talking about and bring a political hatchet to their dreams, to their aspirations, to their careers, to their plans to pass gun control. That is how you do it. That's how we do it. That is how the American Firearms Coalition does it. And it is, quite frankly, how nobody else in American gun rights politics does it. Nobody else.
So people are asking that question about other state groups. Before I mention some of those, Jim Forbes, good friend out of Missouri, says, I bet Chris wanted to talk about Mayor Pete. Is that why he's banned and from speaking tonight from Ohio? I dig that, Jim. Actually, the mayor is from Indiana, I believe, but Chris is from Ohio. But they're close. They're close by. So I think that works. So Ben nailed it. That's why we're talking about these types of organizations. They have to be the right type of attitude. I also want to clean up the fact that Jeff Kelly says, I'm not saying I can't trust you guys. I'm just saying that your state, like mine, is on the edge of becoming a Democrat wasteland, I believe is what he's saying. So yeah, man, that's 100%.
We're fighting like hell.
Down with that. And that's why we have to fight. I was talking to a gal today, a new member of the American Firearms Coalition. It was kind of a revealing phone call. She is a police officer in Staten Island, New York. And she said, you know, a lot of times gun people and conservatives kind of believe, well, we're just going to write off these states. And she said, you know, I can't think that way. There are great people here. I know hundreds of conservative patriots right here in Staten Island. She's like, we can't let our states go. And she made a great point. And she said, if we let our states all go to hell, they're going to move that hell to the next state and the next state and the next state. And she nailed that point and made perfect sense. And so, yes, we definitely have to fight in all these states and fight any chance we get. And guys, if you want to be involved in that at the federal level, it's joinafc.org. We have a bunch of names to read off before we do that, though. Some of the states that people are asking about. Obviously, if you're in Minnesota, you're hearing from Ben. The banner's right behind his head. Minnesota Gun Rights is the group in Minnesota. If you're in Ohio, you can't hear Chris, but you can see him. And behind his head with his tomahawk there is Ohio Gun Owners. The fight is raging in both of these states. Tomorrow, proponent testimony in Ohio for constitutional carry. Huge gun control battles being waged right now in Minnesota. The fight is on in those states. In Georgia, where Patrick is out of, it's Georgia Gun Owners. Everybody knows Georgia carry is as limp as 10-day-old celery out in the hot Georgia sun. Pathetic, butt-kissing clowns. So in Georgia, it's Georgia Gun Owners. Obviously in Iowa, very proud to represent Iowa Gun Owners. That is the place to be, Iowa Gun Owners. We're fighting hard. The session is over with now. We've been fighting hard all session for constitutional carry, and we're the place to be here in Iowa. But in Missouri, it's the Missouri Firearms Coalition, this organization that all four of us were involved with more directly, and I still am to this day. The four of us are the ones that hammered through not only stand your ground law, but also constitutional carry, lifetime carry permits, and a whole bunch more in Missouri in 2016. That's a huge effort down there. Join up with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. In, let's see, Wisconsin, we're helping out our good friends with the Wisconsin Firearms Coalition. Wisconsin is about to kick off a major push for gun control. They have a year-round legislature this year, so it takes a lot more time for this to get going in Wisconsin. There's going to be a fight there. Wisconsin gun owners is dead. They're a joke. No one knows who they are. The Wisconsin Firearms Coalition is our affiliate in the state that you want to be involved in. Let's see, North Carolina. We're very happy to help out a new organization out there, North Carolina Firearms Coalition. That's the place to be. Again, North Carolina Firearms Coalition. That's the place to be. What have I forgotten about?
Aaron, real quick, I should mention about that. A lot of y'all have probably been seeing on the news. Looks like we have 2 dead and 4 shot at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte over there. But look, I do a lot of work in North Carolina with North Carolina Firearms Coalition. I keep my ear to the ground on gun rights politics. Of course, they have a Democrat governor. Republicans control the House and the Senate, guys. But look, gun-free school zone. That's where it starts. Look, I've already seen the guy who did the shooting. He's a nutbag. We can already see it. He's probably hopped up on drugs of some sort. He was in all black. Looks like every other one of these guys. He's on all sorts of drugs, like I just said, guys. But look, do not let it escape the fact that on campuses in the state of North Carolina, they are gun-free school zones. And anybody who says otherwise is wrong. They can say, well, you can carry your gun in your car. What good does it do if a guy comes in and starts shooting up the business school or the library or the stadium? It does nothing. So that's what's going on in North Carolina, guys. You got the Democrat governor there, hardcore anti-gunner.
I cut off Wyoming. My big apologies. Our good friend and state Senator Bouchard was out there with us in the state in Indianapolis last weekend. So I love being involved and helping out with my friends at Wyoming Gun Owners. I was out there last session all year. We hammered through Stand Your Ground law. Michelle Sabrowski, who is watching right now, she is our membership coordinator. She testified in committee on behalf of the bill. She did a phenomenal job. WIGO is the only group on the ground in Cheyenne and across the state fighting to expand gun-free zones. The only group who's calling out sad, pathetic lawmakers on the Republican side, like Lynn Hutchings, like Sherry Steinmetz, and others who took the support of Wyoming gun owners in their primaries last year. But sadly, we're not there to back us up on our floor action this session. But it's okay because I have a great memory, and it's only better in its duration than it is in its quality. We will never forget. We will never forget what happens out there. We will always be there to hold those people accountable. Joseph Schultz says, anything with a South Dakota gun owners group? No, Joseph, there's not. The best thing you have going for you, frankly, right now in South Dakota is the Speaker of the House, an old family friend of mine, Steve Haugard. Steve Haugard, the Speaker of the House, is the guy who hammered through constitutional carry just 2 months ago now, right? 2.5 months ago in South Dakota. So that's the situation. Yeah, absolutely, on South Dakota. Somebody's asking about New York State. Yes, we're very happy to announce that we're helping out a brand new organization, but it's not that brand new now. It is getting ready to rock and roll in New York State. The New York State Firearms Association is going to reshape gun politics in New York State. All the groups out there are either A, dead, like Scope, or B, totally corrupted, like the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association. They spend all their time doing one thing and one thing only, getting selfies in the Capitol. That is malfeasance. That is wrong. That is not what the New York State Firearms Association will be doing. It's going to be a show. It's going to be a show for folks who are in New York State. That's where you want to go. Are we talking about what's that, Patrick?
Real quick, we've got a bunch of watch parties going on out there. I believe there's watch parties all across the internet on this show, guys. We've got patriots who are standing up. A lot of y'all send us private messages asking, how do I do a watch party? You send us emails, you make calls. Watch parties are very important. But we did have a couple of questions. I don't know if I have the answer right now, but on the American Firearms Coalition watch party, guys, we've got some, where they go. We have a guy from Michigan said, is there anybody in Michigan fighting for us? Got Tony says, we're screwed. Nobody fighting for us in Florida. We've got Alan. Is there someone in Arizona that is fighting for us? So you can see, guys, I mean, nationally, there is a thirst for guys like us, and we wish we had 1,000 of us. But maybe you're the guy out there. So send us a message if you're interested in getting involved in the fight in your state. And if you don't want to do that and you just want to join up, go to joinafc.org and join today, guys. But be sure to send us a message if you want to get involved or host a watch party. We have thousands of people out there over the course of the night who are involved in those watch parties. So communicate with us, and we'll be happy to get back to y'all as soon as possible.
And that's the deal. I mean, we fully intend to clean house here. Clean house. Yeah, there's not organizations in those states currently, but you know, we're frankly at the national level, we're a little bit newer. In these states, we're old, established warhammers, you know, just hammering on these people, and that is going to spread. It's going to spread hard. So that Patrick's 100% correct. If this is something, you know, that you might be able to do, got something on your mind, something you want to talk about, shoot us a message, and we'll talk about that.
Oh, we love helping out activists. We put on training classes for activists. We help activists with their fundraising programs. I forgot to mention 2 of our other states that we're happy to be involved with: the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. Greg Pruitt is a good friend of all 4 of us. We helped out Greg a lot back in 2015, 2016. Great guy, great group, great operation out there. I mean, he's the kind of guy who got a criminal complaint from the Attorney General's office in Idaho last year because they primaried successfully a 30-something year incumbent. Chairman Lurcher was his name, and he was like 90,000 years old. They took him out of office, and that kind of stuff gets you in trouble when they have powerful friends. But Greg is not afraid of that crap. He called me laughing and said, "Man, I've arrived." And I was like, "Are you in jail?" And he's like, "That's how we roll." And he's like, "No." He's like, "But I am facing some kind of a BS political hit piece from the AG's office."
It happens, man. I'll tell you.
Great sign. So the Idaho group, that's the one we want to go to out there. And Washington State has an organization that we are affiliating with, which is Washington Gun Rights. And so that's a group you want to be involved with in Washington State. I can tell you that there's going to be an announcement next week on a major state operation that we're going to be happily involved with. We're going to save that for next week, but there is going to be a major announcement next week. Donna is asking, what is the bottom line at the NRA? She got in late. I'll do a really quick overview here, Donna. They're selling us out on bump stocks. They sold you out on fixed NICS, and now they're actively pushing at the federal level red flag gun seizure laws, which allow your guns to be seized. Allow your guns to be seized without ever being convicted in court for anything. It is the end of due process. It is the end of you being innocent until you're proven guilty. It's nasty stuff. Nasty stuff. And that's the situation right now. If you guys want to get more involved, it's joinafc.org. If you want to launch a state group in your state, if you haven't heard your state mentioned, we're happy to help. Michael is saying, hey, Chris, flash the URL again, please. So maybe Chris can do that. It's joinafc.org, guys. We'll do a rundown here, the names here. You know, it's funny. I got a note here from my good friend Mark Baker. Chris and Ben, you're gonna love this. He said, he's sending me a text offline. He's like, did your mom call you a minute ago in the middle of the show? And I was like, yes. He's watching. He's like, yeah, well, my wife was right behind her in the store when she called you. And she said, and his wife said, aren't your boys going on Facebook Live right now? Because she was watching on our phone. So mom hung up as fast as she could because she heard from them that we were on the middle of a broadcast. Hilarious stuff. Let's see a rundown here from some recent members. We got Michael from Blue Springs, Missouri, just joined up at the with the American Firearms Coalition. Jeff from Muscatine, Iowa, just joined up at joinafc.org. Love seeing my fellow Iowans. Another Iowan, Deanna Baker. I'm saying her name wrong. I'm having a brain lapse right now. From Ashton, Iowa, just joined up with the American Firearms Coalition. Kevin in Madison, Wisconsin, just joined up. Love seeing that. Motley, Minnesota is in the house with Ethan, who just joined up at joinafc.org. We got Jim from Carroll, Ohio, just joined up at the American Firearms Coalition at joinafc.org. Brian from Lowerville, Laurelville. I'll try that. Ohio, just joined up at joinafc.org. We appreciate that. And again, in the house tonight, Madison, Wisconsin, Kevin just became a member of the American Firearms Coalition. We have a gal here just joined up, Lorena from Dallas, Texas, just joined up today. Somebody asked me about Texas gun rights earlier today. And since this gal here is from Texas, I'll mention that. Somebody was saying there's a news story out there about an organization down there whose director got like stopped or detained in front of the speaker's house as he was trying to do lit drops or something on constitutional carry, which has been stymied in Texas for a long time. And the person was asking me, is this kind of a good organization? Is this the kind of tactics you're referring to? You know, I think what I told her, and if you guys disagree, Chris can't talk, but Ben and Patrick, if you guys disagree, then let me know. But as I told her, I was like, look, there's aggressive tactics and there's just stupidity. And when you don't have a plan, you don't have any real idea what you're doing, you just act out and you lash out stupid. And I'm sorry, going to the speaker's house when you know he's 3 hours away in the Capitol, when his wife and family are home trying to knock on the door, that's just stupid. That's stupid. That's not aggressive. That's stupid. And we don't like stupid organizations because stupid organizations hurt us all. They hurt us all. And certainly,
that's the deal. I mean, politicos are a dime a dozen. They're a dime a dozen. The first person who pops open Politico.com is all of a sudden an expert on how to make legislators stop pushing gun control. And it's simply not the way. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. And most people are doing it the wrong way. That is why our freedoms, not just on gun rights, but on everything. Think of something. Maybe taxes, whatever you've got on your mind right now, there's a reason that you're losing those freedoms right now. It's because most people who pretend to be fighters, who pretend to run an organization, who pretend to represent the people, they get spun like nothing. It's just so easy. I see it every day. In St. Paul, Minnesota, every day, some citizen lobbyist goes on up there and tries to get in the face of lawmakers, and one little pat on the shoulder and one little, hey, how you doing, is all it takes to make these people, turn around and do whatever these politicians want. That's not the American Firearms Coalition. It's not any of us here. What do you think, Patrick?
Oh, nothing, man. All I was trying to say is they melt like an ice cream cone in 100-degree heat. It's like they're meeting Michael Jordan or Shaquille O'Neal or something. If they're a big basketball fan, Mickey Mantle. It's the people are politicians. It's the same people that are the homecoming queen and the high school quarterback in high school. They know how to work everybody and for good reason. And but unless you put heat on these guys, they're gonna continue running train on everybody out there, and the aggressive tactics are what works. I had somebody comment here on the American Firearms Coalition watch party here a few minutes ago. He said, I don't care about people being friendly. He said, I just want people fighting like hell. Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said. And again, we're talking about political fighting and nothing else, at least not at this point in the history of this country. But we saw, in fact, while we were on here live, guys, I posted a story on the Venezuelan reminder. Aaron talked about it earlier. I know I'm getting off track, but they were disarmed in 2012. Private ownership of firearms was made illegal. And I posted it on AFC and GGO and a couple other pages out there, guys. But it's a good story if you want to hear about the reason that we're fighting is very simple. These are not difficult concepts. The people are the only thing, and that includes us and y'all. The people are the only thing that are stopping us from being under an absolute tyranny. And we're not being facetious or going too far by saying that. That's just the history of the world, guys. When you can't defend yourself, the people with the guns will take you over. It's just a fact. So yeah, I could go on and screed about it, but
well, I'll tell you, that just to wrap up, I guess, that little topic right there, it takes a special kind of person. Most people, and even for me, my natural inclination, I'm a nice guy. People like me. I share office space with some people. People like me. I'm a nice, likable guy. To be confrontational, to be able to go up to a politician they're all professionals, unless they've been in office for about 8 seconds, but they're all professional liars, spinners, and manipulators. And you have to be able to sit there and go, no, that's BS, and we're not taking that crap. You've got to be able to fight. You got to be able to cut through the BS and actually do the job that you have been sent there to do by your members and supporters. And when people get in your face, you have to be able to not back down. You got to be able to get in their face. Even though it's awkward. I mean, I live in Minnesota. It's the land of Minnesota nice. I mean, 99% of everybody up here is as passive aggressive as you've ever met in all of your days. I mean, I had a bunch of media people coming up to me at the Capitol going, normal Minnesotans don't do what you do. They act really passive aggressive. Yeah, that's why we're losing. And I'm from Iowa originally, so maybe that's why I'm not passive aggressive. But yeah, so is Chris. We all are to begin with, but that's how you got to fight. And that's what can I tell one last story about Venezuela? Patrick brought up Venezuela. Yesterday, I was at the Capitol, anti-gunners screaming and shouting. This old lady comes up to me. She's trying to tell me about how, anybody remember what country she was talking about? She was trying to tell me about how some country legalized gangs. When they legalized gangs and allowed gangs to own firearms, the gangs turned their firearms in and they all became wonderful and peaceful. And I said, sweetheart, you're living in the world of the make-believe, if I got to tell you the truth. And then I said, what about Venezuela? I said, Venezuela took the guns. And she goes, I don't want to talk about Venezuela.
Yeah.
Around and walked away. And I said, I bet you don't. I bet you don't. Nobody wants to talk about Venezuela.
That's not real socialism.
Oh, I just thought that was so wild. She was just totally in La La Land. I mean, she was carrying around like a unicorn and stuff. It was terrible. Yeah. It was ridiculous.
Well, let's wrap it up. Aaron, you ready to wrap up? You boys ready to roll?
Yeah, I think we have work to do yet tonight. I know Chris has got a huge day tomorrow in the Capitol. So, guys, that's what we have right now. If you guys want to get involved, it's joinafc.org. If you want to join one of the state groups you see here, let's see. It's Join GGO. It's Join IGO. It's joinmgr.com. It's joinigo.com. Chris is holding up the schedule for tomorrow, guys. If you want to show up and join Chris tomorrow, you can testify in the Capitol proponent hearing tomorrow. Say it again, Chris. You can screenshot this right now. It's tomorrow at 9 a.m., room 112. Be there a half an hour early. Was it not, Chris? Is it room 121? Sorry, guys. It's room 121. He's changing it right now in real time. Room 121. Chris, do they have to submit the testimony in advance? Carl, can they testify tomorrow off the cuff? Okay, you can show up tomorrow in support of the bill, folks, but you can't testify unless you've already submitted your testimony. But tomorrow, room 121. I know Chris is ordinarily there alone with all the red shirt radicals around him. So if you guys can join him tomorrow in Ohio, that would be awesome. I know Ryan Marlowe intends to be there. Hopefully he can get some more guys there, maybe Jeff Hopton or Laidlaw or people like that. If you guys want to join Chris tomorrow, that is going to be the big showdown. So, guys, that's what we got. A big day coming up tomorrow in Ohio and different states. More to come from all of us. We'll probably all be live tomorrow on our various state pages. For all the Iowans who are watching in Davenport, we are praying for you folks. It's national news all across the country right now. A tremendous amount of damage tonight in Davenport, Iowa after a levee failure. Devastating photographs all through downtown Davenport. Phenomenal damage. Probably at least a 5-foot wall of water hammering downtown Davenport right now. I was in Davenport like 3 days ago. So big prayers to our friends there in Davenport. I think Patty Hodges hopefully is in dry ground out there. Wherever you're at, guys, keep them in your prayers. That's all I have tonight, guys. Have a great night. Stay safe.
JoinAFC.org.
Yeah. All right, guys. I mean, that's it. That's pretty much a wrap for all of us. A lot of stuff going on in a lot of states. So wherever you're from, tune in, keep tuning in, and check out with Ohio gun owners. I think that's probably the most pressing thing is happening in Ohio. They already passed red flags and universal gun registration through the Minnesota House yesterday. So tune in tomorrow if you're from Minnesota. Tune in to Minnesota Gun Rights, guys, and have a fantastic night.
Shout out to Jeffrey and Michael from Missouri, just joined up at joinafc.org. One last shout out for those three guys, Michael and Jeffrey in Missouri. Thank you so much. You guys have a great night.